Welcome, Tara Turkington, one of my favorite people. Tara Turkington started Flow Communication in 2005 in a spirit bedroom in her home. Since then, Flow has grown into one of South Africa's best known marketing and communications companies. Flow has completed work in more than 30 countries and has won more than 250 awards to date, which is amazing. And I see those all the time on LinkedIn. You're doing incredible things. Flow has well-known international clients, including the United Nations, African Union, European Union, Gates Foundation, Nelson Mandela Foundation, and many others. In 2019, Tara won the Best Individual Influence Marketer of the Yes Award at the New Generation Digital and Social Media Awards. In 2022, her and her management team completed the prestigious year-long Stanford Seed Transformation Program, which recognizes Africa and India's leading entrepreneurs. Tara has a Master's of Arts degree from the University of Montana, a Bachelor of Arts honors from the University of Cape Town, and a postgraduate diploma in higher education from the University of, oh my gosh, I'm not going to say this right. How do you say it?
KwaZulu-Natal, but yeah, enough of the qualifications. You don't need to say all those things.
Well, you are one of my favorite people.
Back at you, Marla. Back at you. Back at you. One of my absolute favorite people.
I have had the good fortune of visiting Tara in her home in Johannesburg, South Africa. She's married to a school headmaster, and they have 4 children, one of who I had the pleasure of traveling with. Welcome, Tara. I know that you have a great business. Like I said, you started it in 2005. What motivated you to start this business?
Well, Marla, necessity is the mother of invention. I started it when I didn't have a job. And it was very scary to not have any regular income, and had some small children and a mortgage on my house. Yeah, I was pretty desperate. What your listeners might not realize is in South Africa, in a lot of the kind of Southern Hemisphere, unemployment is a massive issue. And in South Africa, depending on which stats you believe, it's 40 to 50% unemployment. So if you don't have a job, it really is quite a serious thing, and it's a big reality. And I had actually been a university lecturer before that. My first, I think, 4 or 5 employees were actually my past students who also didn't have jobs. So we just didn't have jobs together, and we were like, okay, we have to figure it out. We have to make something, because we're not going to get a job otherwise. So that's why. It wasn't because I had any great business idea or any clue about business or anything else, really.
And I'd have to say, an awful lot of business owners have told me that's why they started. For some reason, they weren't employed. They knew how to do what they knew how to do, not necessarily run a business, though. Yeah. I know you had an interesting childhood because you have a mother who's rather famous in South Africa. So what was your childhood like?
Yeah, so I had a very happy childhood. My mum and dad are great characters. My dad is not alive anymore, but my mum is. There are 4 of us kids, and yeah, we traveled a lot. My dad was a real maverick. He was an entrepreneur, and I think I don't know. I've read that for a lot of entrepreneurs, statistically, something in like, I don't know what it is, like 1 in 2 people who become entrepreneurs had a parent who was an entrepreneur. So I think he probably inspired me or showed me the way. He was a magazine publisher. He published airline magazines. He was also he was quite a maverick. I mean, he was Irish. He was very naughty. He had very sparkly blue eyes, and he told wonderful long stories that often didn't have a point to them, but were very entertaining. And he was also an addicted gambler. And so my mother would always, whenever my mum had any money, she would spend it quickly because she knew that, you know, she needed to. And so we went on lots of wonderful trips. I mean, she used to take us, they used to take us traveling a lot, which was my mother's way of just sort of making sure we made something of the money we had. Yeah, so I had a very happy childhood. My parents were great fun. My mum, Kate Turkington, is quite famous in South Africa. She was been a media personality and an author and a renowned academic as well. And she always made life great fun. Our house was always filled with lots of interesting people, lots of interesting artifacts from all over the world, and yeah, never a dull moment. Lots of stories, never a dull moment.
I remember you telling me a story about being, I didn't know you were small, and you there was a very large elephant coming at you.
My sister Tiffany is still traumatized about elephants. She still, she still, like, she still will go to a place where elephants haven't been seen for years, and elephants will appear because she's like an alien magnet. She's so afraid of them that they just know and they come somehow. Yeah, it really wasn't a yeah. I mean, we did lots of crazy things. My parents were always taking us, and the idea of a trip was not what other normal people did. I remember my mum coming home when I was 14, and my sister was 11. My younger sister Tiffany was 11, and she was very dramatic. She turned off the TV and she said, "It's time you two saw Europe." I think her aunt had died and left her some money, and she decided that she was sending us to Europe. But we were 11 and 14, and of course, she gave my sister the tickets because my sister's much more responsible than me. And we flew to, I think it was Liechtenstein or somewhere like that, or Luxembourg, or somewhere like really bizarre, the two of us. And we had to catch buses across Europe to Belgium, the Netherlands, to go and stay with friends in the Netherlands, and then to stay with my grandmother in England. And we navigated the whole of, well, not the whole of Europe, but a lot of Europe. We went for 5 weeks when we were 11 and 14. I don't know. I think that's a bit crazy. I mean, yeah, I don't know. But that's the kind of thing my mum and dad would do.
That does sound a bit crazy, but I think that might, well, all of the traveling that you have done in your life has put you in a place where you can have an amazing travel company also. You've done a lot of really good things to study business. We're constantly talking about some business book or some business training program that you've been through or you and your team have gone through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stanford experience. But did you have a mentor that helped you like right from the get go?
Yes, and yes. So one of our mentors is Becky Shongwe. Becky's our business partner. We met him in 2008, and he bought into our business. And Becky is older than me, and although you wouldn't think it, he was a professional soccer player in his youth. He looks very young and he's very sporty. But he is what you would call a CPA, a chartered accountant, which I'm not at all. And he had been in corporate life for all his career. He knew he knew how to run a board. He knew how to kind of show up in business. And he mentored Tiffany and I for many years. We would have meetings once a week and just bring home all our problems. Like the first time we had to fire someone, the first time we had a lawsuit, all these things. He would kind of coach us through, and we're still in business together. And yeah, I think he's just an incredibly generous person who taught us a huge amount, and but wasn't somebody who rescued us all the time. So I remember I remember when we had to fire that first person for theft, and we decided what we were going to do, and we had to dismiss her. And I said to him, "Becky, please, will you do it?" And he said, "No, you're dirty laundry. You do it yourself." So it wasn't, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. But then also, I think because I didn't really have a business. I mean, my background was in journalism and content creation, and teaching. I just knew how much. I knew a little bit about how much I didn't know. And so I've always read. I've always just tried to read a lot and study a lot and listen to podcasts. And really, your book, Drama Free Management, is one of the best I've read. If anyone is not yet, because it's just very practical. It's very straight speaking and it's entertaining. But yeah, it's that book that very good. Very
Tiny.
I'd read
Thanks.
20 years ago, but I did enjoy it when I read it last year. So yeah, I think it's always good to. I mean, Becky also put us on the made us read Good to Great by Jim Collins, Blue Ocean Strategy, all these almost textbooks, and we couldn't really understand why we had to. But in retrospect, I'm so grateful, and yeah, I still read books. I still read business books all the time. I'm reading Brené Brown, one of Brené Brown's Dare to Lead series at the moment about being very grounded in business. I think she's also a brilliant business author. But yeah, I think there's so much to learn from
Yeah.
others, and there's resources available. Yeah.
So you have 4 children and an amazing husband. How did you manage that work-life balance everybody is trying to find?
Oh, I don't have any work-life balance. My children are self-raising. I mean, I have a parenting method I want to one day write a book about. It's called Benign Neglect. Leave your children. I think it's what my parents did to me. So leave your children to their own devices, and they will survive. Also have I have a lot of support. They have to get on with life. I think it's really important to raise independent children. We're far too many people who I think try to live their lives vicariously through their children. That's really sad. Yeah, I let my dogs have a share in the raising of children too. No, I mean they raise
No.
themselves. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, in terms of work-life balance, I don't really like the term, and I don't subscribe to it really. I think you have one life, and you must make your life as wonderful as possible. I think someone famous once said, I can't remember who, but if you love what you do, you don't have to work a day in your life. And so honestly, if I don't separate work and life, for me, it's all blurred. And I enjoy what I do, and often my clients become my friends, or my friends become my clients. And yeah, I don't really think. I think you need to be balanced in who you are, and you need to stay sane-ish, and you need to get in some exercise, and not only be a workaholic. But I don't really even like the idea of work-life balance. I don't think they're two things. I think they're the same thing.
Yeah. Speaking of exercise, because we went jaunting with gorillas last year, and that was not an easy hike through the jungle. And it was like a cakewalk for you.
Yeah, going to see gorillas in Uganda. I mean, that was really a life highlight, and I don't think it was definitely not a cakewalk, but yeah, it was so special to share that.
I'm going to say this because this is in the recording. I've had 2 hip replacements and I did it. You have porters. It's a great experience. And your trip, the way that you set it up with the hotels that we went to that were really nice, and the people that we met, and the Ugandan people are beautiful. They're just beautiful. It is just a different world and a great experience. I'm going to just fumble over those words. It was a great experience. And I would say anybody who has not done that should do that. One thing, though, I'm going to ask you about, because
I know what
so there was a big competition between you and your son with the guns. There's a competitive relationship with you and Nick. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, my son Nick is actually now a professional photographer, which he wasn't at the time. That's what's happened. But yeah, we were constantly bickering about who could get the better lens. And I guess we do in our family. We do have a competitive spirit with just about everything, but that makes it fun. I think hopefully it's not overbearingly competitive, but a little bit of healthy competition. I mean, if you ever came to my house, we're always playing board games, or we invent games like crazy garden croquet. There's always games going on. And I think all my children are very competitive. I was raised that way as well. Always trying to be better, but in a friendly, fun way as well.
Yeah, I think competition is healthy.
Yeah.
Good for people to learn friendly competition looks like. So that That's good. What one or two things do you think made the biggest impact on the growth of your company?
I think finding the right people.
Yeah.
I was really lucky to find like my business partners are my sister and Becky, who I talked about, and Richard Frank, who was my first employee. And I think we are people that have got very different skills, but we've all got the same values. That really, really helped. I see people who are struggling, they're building something on their own, and I just can't imagine that. I've been really, lucky to get to have amazing, amazing business partners. And then apart from the partners, I think the staff that we've employed have been really like we've just always had the promise to each other that we're going to employ the best staff that we can. Always employ people who are cleverer than you know, and then your business can be better. You can grow and you can improve because they're better at you. You know, they're better at you than at something. And we've been really, really lucky to have amazing, amazing employees, and many of our staff. I think over 50% of our staff have been with us for more than 5 years, or actually might be even longer. I think more than a quarter have been with us for more than 10 years. And
Yeah.
so finding the right people, hiring the right people, and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. But over time, I've been incredibly fortunate to work with some really fantastic people. So
Yeah.
yeah, those things I think have been enormously helpful. I think there's
There is
also
there's something to be said for the knowledge, the kind of the tribal knowledge and what you said, sharing the same values.
yeah, yeah.
If there
Yeah.
is one thing that's I think critical in a team, it's that.
Becky always says he doesn't want to sleep with one eye open at night. You don't want to think that someone's going to spring a surprise on you.
Yeah.
I think other things help, like a bit of luck, a bit of bravery, being cheeky, just daring to dream big, believing you can even when you don't really believe you can. You're just putting
Yeah.
yourself out there. I think there are a lot of other things underpinning our business growth has been kind of that reason that we started was we wanted to create jobs. And I think there's a deep sense of purpose around giving people dignity and meaning through work. When in Africa you employ one person, they generally support maybe 5 to 10 other people. So it's believing in uplifting others around you. I think that underpins what we're trying to do. And then also through the actual work we do, trying to do work, we do communications and marketing. These are skills that we have, and we try to use those skills for good things in the world, because you can use those skills for bad things too. We always just try to seek out clients who we believe, without being pretentious or precious about it. We try to seek out clients that we believe are doing good things in the world for people, and that's a kind of client we aim to work with.
Yeah. I remember the feeling of if something goes wrong in the business, I'm going to affect a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
That's a big responsibility. But taking that to heart and knowing that you're helping other people survive and thrive.
Someone once showed me a picture of an entrepreneur riding a lion, and the entrepreneur looks so powerful and strong because they're riding a lion, and other people are saying, "Wow, how cool that person's riding a lion," and meanwhile the entrepreneur is just thinking, "Oh my gosh, is this lion going to turn around and eat me?" That's like
Yes. A lot of people, when things are going really well, they're thinking, wow, that person has such a cool life. But they're not seeing the other end of it when you've had a bad year and you have to take money out of your savings account and put it back into the business, which hurts. Yeah. Which, of course, I think a lot of business owners had to do during COVID if they could survive at all. What is one thing that you wish you had done sooner?
I definitely wish I'd joined WPO's, Women Presidents Organization. We met through WPO. For the first 10 years of my business career, I didn't join any networks. When I think about it, it's such a rookie era. It's such a basic mistake. I don't know why I didn't realize earlier that if you join a network and you can learn from others' mistakes as well as your own. but you can have a sounding board. So whether it's WPO or another network or networks, I think I wish I'd done that, because I think once I joined WPO, my business grew so much more, it grew so much stronger, so much more quickly. And it was because you're riding on, you're building on the knowledge of others and the experience of others. Yeah, that's one thing I really wish I'd done earlier. I think I missed 10 years of growth because I was just trying to figure it out on my own, and that's so it was so silly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just didn't know any better, I guess.
One thing that I will always appreciate about the Entrepreneurial Excellence Forum, it is like 900 power driving women all in one place. It's very loud, it's very energetic. But the one thing I think is amazing about the whole experience is that you leave feeling like there's nothing you can't do. That's, to me, that's like the wow.
Yeah. I always think like that forum, it's like a massive adrenaline shot in the arm for your business, because you just get new ideas, your whole frame of reference broadens, your mindset is challenged. Yeah, I'm not sure that everyone I work with loves it as much as me, because I come back and I'm like, oh, no, we're going to try this, and we have to read this, and oh, we're not doing this, so this is not good enough, and buy everyone the book, and make them do whatever it is, emotional intelligence or Jim Collins or whatever it is. So I'm not sure everyone has the same feeling as me, but and it's also, I find that it's the conversations that happen in between.
Yeah.
In when you're having wine in someone's room, or you are sitting on a plane next to someone, that's where the real aha moments sometimes come. It's not actually in the, I mean, they always get wonderful speakers, and the level of presentation is always amazing, but often it's just the small little conversations where the most learning happens.
Okay, so it was one of those small conversations that started Flow Travel, wasn't it? Because a buddy of ours, Gloria Hale, convinced Tara to take us all on a safari in Madikwe, and that was just the most amazing experience I think I've ever had in my life. Rulani, what a great place. Tell me a little bit about that conversation. How did Gloria twist your arm?
Wine is a very dangerous thing.
Can be. Can be.
So I met these ladies at a WPO conference, and they came up to me, and we were drinking lots of wine. And they said, oh, we would like to come to South Africa. Will you organize our trip for us? I said, of course. I thought I'd never see them again, because lots of people have come to me over the years and said, we want to come to South Africa, and then they don't, So I was like, of course, no problem. Then we had what, 12, was it 10 or 12 Americans for 3 weeks coming to South Africa. And then I started to think, gee, I better make this a good trip, because they're coming all the way, and it's such a, like they're giving a lot of time, it's costing a lot of money. I went and I did a tour guide course so that I could guide all of you around South Africa, but I didn't. It was much more difficult than I realized, that course. In fact, it took me several years to do all the exams. I only graduated much later, but at least it gave me some ideas about what I should do with you all, and we had such a wonderful trip. I loved every minute, seeing my country through the eyes of all of you on the trip. Yeah, and at the end, on the last night, you all said, "Oh, now you have a travel company. It's called Flow Travel, and where are we going next year?" I thought I was about to get rid of you all, but anyway.
And here we are, still traveling together. We just came back from India, the Palace on Wheels, which, what a fabulous experience to see that much of India in such a short period of time. Thanks to the train.
We just did a count, and we sent 150 different people to 72 destinations last year. So that's where that conversation with wine, that's where it's led to, and it's still carrying on. And I hope that company is going to go on for many, many, many years to come.
Do you have any regrets in running the business?
Not really. I think my children sometimes say I should have spent more time with them when they were little. But then I think I've spent quality time with them because I had a business. I could take my son on a trip to see gorillas when he was older, or maybe my children have regrets about my business, but I don't think I really do. Another thing is I was never really great with authority, which I think was my father's fault. It's been quite nice all these years to not have a boss. And now I think, geez, I would last 2 minutes in a corporate environment. I'd get fired so fast. But no, I don't have regrets. I don't have regrets. Maybe I
Good.
should. I can't think of any.
Well, if you don't have any, then you're doing a lot better than many other. But I do think it speaks to the fact that you do study business, which I do think helps you to minimize the regrets. So,
I've made lots of mistakes. If the question is about mistakes, plenty of mistakes. I've made them all. I could write a book on all my mistakes that I've made. There are a few. No, I mean, I've made plenty of mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, how do you learn? I think maybe it's a cliche, but they say, you learn far more from your failures than your successes. And they bite harder, and they make you hungrier. They make you want to bounce back. What are the alternatives? You can curl up and cry, lie down in a corner, and in fetal position. Well, that's not going to be very helpful for too long. And maybe momentarily it's fine, but you've got to get up and carry on. And I remember one of my high school teachers. She was so brilliant. She is a sports coach, and she had a story about a tennis ball. She used to start the year by bouncing a tennis ball in front of the whole school and saying, "This is what you've got to be. You've got to be like a tennis ball. You've got to bounce back. You're gonna hit the ground, and you've got to bounce back. You've got to bounce back." And I think that's that's what you've got to do. If you don't make mistakes, you're not learning. So you have to make mistakes too. But it's how you bounce back that's important.
So what mistake sticks in your mind as one of those really big learning moments?
Gosh. Okay. So one really expensive mistake that we made was about quite a long time ago. We started a business in collective buying. So in the US, there's Groupon. I don't know if Groupon's still a thing, but we saw Groupon. Yeah, we saw Groupon. We thought that's such a great idea. We'll do that in South Africa. And we thought we'll be the first. That'll be so clever, and people will flood to start buying stuff from us. And so we started a Groupon called Collective Cow, which is a whole thing. Because cows are for many Africans, a herd of cows is the form of wealth. So we thought we're gonna have this group buying business together, and it's going to benefit consumers, and it's going to benefit us, and it's going to benefit people who want to sell lots of stuff. And we had some reasonable early success. So we got our credit card. This is sort of 2010. So online buying was quite a new thing. We got our credit card system all working. We started trudging around streets and selling stuff, selling group discounts on things ranging from massages to dog grooming services to we sold an enormous amount of cupcakes before Valentine's Day. And then our supplier couldn't deliver, and we ended up all of our entire company, our marketing company, delivering cupcakes so that we could actually. But that's not the mistake. That wasn't the mistake. So the mistake was we thought, oh, okay, first to market will be like that'll be great. It'll be first to market is everything. Well, actually, it's not everything at all, because what happened then a couple of months later is we were first to market in Johannesburg. So somebody actually beat us to it in Cape Town. So we weren't even first to market in the country, but we were first to market in our city. And then a couple of months later, Groupon came. They had really deep pockets. They had a better strategy. They just went round. We had done a lot of lovely research for them, because they just went round to all our suppliers, signed them up on exclusive contracts. We were cut out, and our business was like gone, just about overnight. And but we still felt very sentimental about it, and we carried on. We carried on for far too long. That's another mistake, because you can throw good money after bad, be sentimental about business because I don't know what it is, pride, or you just don't believe. You want to carry on. You want to be tenacious. You want to believe that it's going to turn around. We held on to it for far too long, and it took so much of our attention. and so much of our energy. And in the end, well, we don't have that business anymore, but we learned a lot. There's a lot of lot of school fees were paid, and we learned a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to say my staff would say I had a bone that I wanted to hold on to, and it was not worth it.
You've got to work out. There's a fine line between being tenacious and being sentimental about something in your business, or being proud. If your tenacity is really not working, you need to call it at some point, because otherwise you can end up losing a lot of money. And that's what we did. We lost a hell of a lot of money, but it was fun. It was fun for a while. I've got the wounds, I've got the scars to prove it. But yeah, that was a very big mistake, a very big and expensive mistake.
Oh, I hate to hear those stories, but what's good about podcasts and books is you listen to somebody else's mistake and how it happened and what happened to avoid making that same mistake. Because there's one thing about business, it is rife with mistakes, and it's that you're going to make them, and how can you make them and have or avoid them, first of all, or you're not going to avoid all of them, so how can they cost you the least amount of money?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Is how much do you go after that mistake? When do you call it quits? Yeah.
And sometimes the margin between a mistake and a huge success is so tiny. It's such a fine line. But if you don't nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? If you don't try, you're never going to succeed.
And that speaks to fear and lack of fear, or reducing the fear to try something you don't fully understand. And that's the one thing about entrepreneurs that I know they do, is they have the fear maybe, but they overcome it to try and accomplish something they maybe don't fully understand.
It's a good definition.
Yeah. In 2018, you participated in the acclaimed Global EY Winning Women program. Tell me a little bit about that program.
Oh, that's such a cool program. I mean, if anyone hasn't done it who listens to this, I'll just highly recommend it. EY is a global consultancy. They put an enormous amount of effort, investment into supporting women entrepreneurs. It's a global program, so that in every region in the world they have it, and you apply, and you get on their program, and it's a program to help you broaden your mind about your business. So I guess it's a networking program as well. You in a cohort with other women entrepreneurs. But then the most fun part about it for me is afterwards you become an alumni in the program, and they have a conference every year. They also have a big global conference in the US in Palm Springs. Well, that's that people go to the EY. It's a big EY conference, and then they have regional conferences. So this year I'm going to Spain, to Malaga. And you meet with people from, like, my region is EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa, I think. So some of us from South Africa will go. There will also be entrepreneurs from Portugal, Ireland, the UK, the Netherlands, Serbia. There's a whole mix of people. And I think you can learn so much from others, as we were speaking about earlier. Just another network, and really great group of people that all help each other in business.
Yeah. That's nice. You've won an award in photography. How did you get started in photography? Because you are an amazing photographer.
Oh, thank you. I've just always loved it. I actually went to journalism school in Montana, which is a beautiful, beautiful state. I never joined the photography class. I don't know why. I couldn't fit it into my curriculum or my calendar or whatever. So I never did, and I always regretted it, because they taught you how to use your camera properly, and in those days it was before digital. That's how old I am. But I've just and then I bought a camera, and I've just always I love photography, because I think it helps you to really look at something, and it helps you to really remember. If you're taking a picture of the Taj Mahal, or with your friends, you've just been there, and remembering that day, remembering the light and the beautiful sunlight on the grass in front of it, the light reflecting off the dome. photography really makes you look and absorb. And I've heard people criticize photographers and say, oh, you shouldn't have a camera with you all the time because you're not experiencing what you're supposed to be experiencing. Well, I think it's the other way around. I think when you're looking through a camera, because you're always composing in your mind's eye, this is how this would look good. This is an interesting angle. Look at that expression on someone's face. You're being a very intense observer when you're a photographer, and there's so much beauty in the world. And I think photography for me is, I mean, I'm still, I only know the rudimentary controls on my camera. There's a lot that I still have to learn. I mean, and that's another part of it is mastery. Mastery is, I read a book by Daniel Pink recently, and I'm sure it's an old book, called Drive, about what actually really motivates people. And he, if I recall correctly, he said three things: autonomy, mastery, and I think the other one was recognition. Can't exactly remember if that was, but autonomy is to let people do things their way. No one wants to be micromanaged. Recognition, I think that was one of them. But the one that I really found fascinating was mastery. So mastery is when you try to be excellent at something, but you can never quite attain it. Searching for mastery is unattainable, actually. So even a Leonardo da Vinci, or a Michelangelo, or they wouldn't have said that they never reached a level of mastery that they probably wanted to. Even though they're, way more than the rest of us. Photography, I feel it's such an interesting quest to always try to be better, to always try to learn more, to always improve, to never feel like you've reached a state of mastery, because you can't. It doesn't matter how good you are, you can always be better. That's one of the things that really intrigues me about photography.
Yeah, you're amazing, and thank you for all the photographs that you took in India. Your travel company made a wonderful experience of Istanbul as well. I definitely will.
Fabulous city.
Yeah, clean, fun. Oh, the Turkish bath, that was wonderful. Your husband, Mike, every once in a while, he gets to go on some of these trips with you. What's one of the best places that you've traveled together, you and Mike?
Oh, behind me, there's a painting of Abu Simbel in Egypt. Yeah, we went together to Egypt in 1994. I've traveled lots of interesting places with Mike. I love that Egypt trip. We recently took my whole family to Sri Lanka for 3 weeks. That was absolutely, I just love Sri Lanka. I've been to Australia together. If I could only choose one place to travel to ever again, which would be very difficult, that would be torture, but I would choose the African bush, what we call the bush, the African wilderness, because whenever we're lucky enough, we live in South Africa, there's a lot of wildlife, there's a lot of wild areas, although they're reducing around the world all the time and in Africa all the time. But when you go and you just are in nature, nature is the most immersive, it's such an immersive experience. When you see that elephant and it looks you in the eye, or you see a lioness calling her cubs to eat, to the kill. Recently, I saw two frantic little birds trying to feed a cuckoo that was times the size of that bird. And I think I'll never ever get tired of going to the African bush and seeing giraffes, zebras, leopards, one of my favorite. I went a bit off the topic, but the African bush is probably my favorite.
I have to agree with you. I mean, I'm coming back to Africa. I love Africa. The experience in South Africa that you created for us, going to Table Mountain, it was a great experience. I want to ask you about WPO because I think that's, like you said, wish you'd done it sooner. How has your chapter helped you the most?
Well, they've helped me to grow my business a lot.
Mhm.
They've helped me to believe in myself.
Yeah.
And I think as entrepreneurs, I don't know if it's everybody, but I've certainly had many, many a moment of imposter syndrome where you feel like you can't do it, or somebody's better than you, or why are you there?
Yeah.
They all said to me, like, why aren't you should start a travel business? This is something that you love. They've helped me to I think to be authentically me as well. You get to know people very well, and you get to see people for who they really are, because people share things they can't share with others. No one wants to, you can't share with a staff member that your cash flow is really bad, or that you're worried about losing a big client, or things you just don't want to freak people out about it, but you don't want to do that. They've given me an enormous amount of courage over the years, and confidence, and we've had a lot of fun. I mean, and they're not easy, they're not, they'll call something when they'll call, they won't let you get off easy of anything, but they're also just, they're generous with their time and their knowledge. They, we're supportive of each other. Generally, the women want to see each other succeed. And that's a
Yeah.
really beautiful thing. It's really special. So
Yeah.
I can't put it down to one thing, other than maybe a few years ago I had my 50th birthday, and we were putting together the guest list, and my daughter Emily said to me, "Mom, like, what happened? You suddenly got a lot more friends in the last few years." What? Oh, and WPO, because you make really good friends really fast, and you have so much in common with them that
That's
you make deep
that's it.
friendships.
You do have so much in common with them. You're there with people that are going through the same stuff, and they
Yeah, you
understand.
can have fun together, and you can laugh together, and you make memories together, and it's not all easy. Some people fail, some people succeed.
I've met some of your chapter because I've gone on some of the excursions that you arranged for your group after the conference. So, how did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, well, we South Africans are very intrepid in general. We will go, and we'll go like right across the world to a conference, but you might as well, if you've gone all the way, you might as well do something more than just, I mean, not just the conference, but it's a shortish, a few days. So we always try to make it, really memorable and do something extra. We've already bought an air ticket across the world. We've been to lots of exciting places. We've been to Canada, we've been to Montreal, we've been to Mexico, we've been to
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, Peru. This year we're going to Brazil. So I think it's part of the fun, and as I said, that learning. I think some of my biggest learnings have been when you're just having fun with other entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
and you have the time to talk. You have the time to share. It's not
Just
strictly in
like
a setting. It's just actually in a more social setting. That's where you can learn so much. You can glean so much from others, and you build memories together. And life is short. You must have fun. You must do things that you're going to remember and you're going to enjoy. We work so hard. We work so hard as entrepreneurs. It's important to cut ourselves some slack and have a bit of fun as well, because that's how we can stay sane.
so. You have a chapter chair that does travel with you, Judy. She's amazing. Tell me about the issue processing that you do in your chapter.
The issue processing, like a round table type
The
thing.
round table, yeah, peer review.
Yeah. So how we do it? So the chapters about 12 or 15 people, depending. Sometimes a bit smaller, and then somebody will bring an issue. And I think it's a very powerful process, because it's run
Yes.
quite strictly in our chapter. Say it's me who has the issue. I'll say what the issue is. I have to have thought about it. It's not just like a spur of the moment thing. I've got to put some effort into thinking through the issue and telling people what the issue is, or what I've done about it, what I think I could do about it, etc. And then there is a process of questions. It goes around the table 2 or 3 times, where people are only allowed to ask questions, and they may not be leading questions like, "Have you thought about XXX?"
Yeah.
They've got to be probing questions. How does it make you feel? How do you um what not have you considered? What would be the alternatives? Or what the questions have to be, they're quite deep and penetrating questions. And it goes round, and it's actually in the questions, and then as each question is asked, an answer is given before any advice is given. And it's in the questions and the answering of them that you learn so much. So if it's you who's brought the issue, you get enormous clarity on an issue. And if it's somebody else, you're getting clarity on their issue, which you may have faced in the past, or you may face in the future. And then you
Right.
get all that knowledge and it's just some of like really the smartest minds that I've ever come across. And you put them all together in a room, and they're asking from different points of view, from different perspectives. They're asking you about the financial side of things. They ask you about the legal side of things. They ask you about the emotional side of things. And
Right.
that processing, I think it's very, very, it's extremely powerful. It's extremely helpful. It's not always comfortable. I mean, it can be quite a grueling process for the person in the hot seat, but it's always helpful in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, a very, very good process. I sometimes try to run mini ones inside my company. Like in my management team, we'll run because there's also an enormous power of in listening,
Yeah.
listening without listening to understand, not listening to respond. So when you tell people that they're not allowed to give advice or offer what they think someone should do, they've just got to listen. They've got to ask questions that they need to listen to the answers. I think that's a very a deep and under appreciated thing in the modern world. We move so fast. It's instant gratification. It's like, oh, we'll solve this, we'll solve that, and sometimes listening and is I think listening is vastly
Yeah.
underrated and underdone in business.
Yeah. And I think what I hear is sometimes the real issue comes out. You give an issue, and then because of the questions, you realize, well, shoot, it's this issue, not that issue. I think that's where the clarity comes in, because if you're sitting in the hot seat, you realize, well, I thought that it was this other issue, but it's not. So,
And sometimes the issue, of course, is you. So you think there's other obstacles, but actually the real obstacle is yourself.
yes.
So that's where that process it's simple, but it works so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is game changing for business owners that want to participate in something like WPO. It is, like you said, it makes such a big difference in your company and how you run your company and some of the things that you do or don't do. Now, I
You know,
know you are always planning something. So, what's in Tara's future?
you mean travel wise or business wise or yeah,
Yes.
what in what area?
Oh, what are you planning down the road? Like what next big thing do you think you want to do?
I think um I think I would like to continue to help build my businesses with the other people that I work with. I would like to build enduring businesses that have an impact beyond me, beyond my life, beyond my working life, and beyond my life. I would, and I know maybe that's naive, and modern business changes and things happen, but I would love to. I think in our businesses we built something very special where people feel valued and they are allowed to grow and they're encouraged to grow. Sometimes they're bullied to grow and they are seen as people.
Yeah.
And I would really like, if I become a star one day and I'm looking down on earth, I would really like to think, I'd really like to see flow still continuing in 100 years or 200 years time. There's still that care for people. And yeah, I would love that. I mean, I would love that if that were possible. I think at some point you have to decide, and I certainly haven't got there, but you have to decide if you want to leave a business or stay in a business. And a few years ago we listened to Jim Collins at the WPO Excellence Forum. And he talks about hedgehogs and how, like, I don't know why I got the word hedgehogs, but anyway, a hedgehog is something that you have in your life. Like you will have maybe one or two hedgehogs. These are things that really are sticky that you do for a long time. And I've got Flow Communications and Flow Travel. They're both hedgehogs. I've got a pair of hedgehogs, and he was saying like somebody in the audience asked him, if I really love my business and it's my hedgehog, is it like, do I have to leave it? Because conventional wisdom would be, oh, I need to leave, I need to move on. Obviously, no one lives forever. You want to be responsible. But anyway, his answer was no. Like he's seen many people who thought they had to leave a business And then they did, and then they were lost without their hedgehog, and they were lonely and terribly regretful that their hedgehog had gone. And so I haven't decided if what will happen to my pair of hedgehogs, but I do love them for now, and I do love to see them grow. Yeah, so I don't know, but in the meantime, I'm going to carry on doing whatever I can that will make the world a better place in the ways that I can. Whether it's, we've got clients, for example, we're doing an amazing project with UNICEF in West Africa, helping women, really small women farmers, become banked, actually get bank accounts and move away from cash. It's called Better Than Cash. And that is a transformational thing for those people to not have to actually be able to have bank accounts. I live in a very urbanized world, and I wouldn't think of not having a bank account. I use it, several times a day sometimes. So to do a project like that, or to the African Union, we did a project last year about inclusivity in sport. There's many countries in the world that don't think women or disabled people should play sport. Maybe in somewhere like the US, you think, well, that's an obvious thing, but we did a really cool campaign that actually got mentioned at an Olympic Committee meeting on including women and people with disabilities in sport. So when you can use your skills for that kind of thing, I mean, or trying to save the wild places on Earth, because we humans are voracious. We're killing our biodiversity at a hell of a rate. So if you can, if we can work to help make the world a bit better for as long as I can, I will. So it's a very long rambling answer. Part of it, I read in Sheryl Sandberg's book Lenin, and I was so irritated because that was my idea, but then I saw that she had the same idea. Said that your career in the old days, people had a career and there was a ladder that you climbed up the career ladder, and she's just always found that she likes to play on the jungle gym. You go on the swings a little bit here, and then you go down the slide, and you play on the monkey bars a bit. And I felt like life to me is much more like a corporate or a career jungle gym than a corporate ladder. So
it's not a
I hope
straight line, right?
stay on the jungle gym a lot longer, and to have fun and to make a difference where I can.
Nice. You had a project for quantum computing, right?
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, a massive the year of quantum computing, which was with Hilary Kay, who I met through WPO, and then also through many travel trips.
Yeah.
And we, Hillary's company, HKA Consulting and Flow Communications, we did a project together on shining a spotlight on quantum computing in Africa. Obviously, quantum computing is a massive next thing in the world. So that was a really cool project that we worked on together to raise the profile of what quantum computing is, and Africa's role in that, in a continent where there's a massive digital divide. There's people who never seen a smartphone or an iPad, to quantum computing, where you can literally, I think you could change the tilt of the Earth with quantum computing. If you
yes, it concerns me. There's a race in countries going after quantum computing, and I'm a little concerned about the US's participation, but we'll see. Now, so WPO, some chapters have retreats. What retreats have your chapters done?
So we there's quite a few members of WPO in South Africa. I think they're about 60 or 70. And they're roughly halfly distributed between Cape Town and Johannesburg, our two biggest cities. And so we usually alternate it. So it's either somewhere in the middle-ish, or maybe it's in the Cape one year and it's in Gauteng, our province, in another year. So we've done many. We've done retreats on a wine farm. That was lovely. We've done retreats at the beach several times. Absolutely lovely. We've did one on a game reserve. I don't know where this year's one is, but last year's was in Knysna, which is a beautiful coastal city with a massive lagoon, and we we did such fun activities. We played paddle, we played golf. Some of us, not me. We went on a boat on the lagoon. We went for walks. We always have a fun dress up evening. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
the
I'm
thing.
just wondering, do you ever, when you do those retreats, do you play that game Murder that you're so good at?
Of course, of course. It's an absolute it's an absolute must. We always play that game.
Yeah, it's a fun game, and Mike is so good at being the sheriff. It's so fun talking to you, Tara, and I miss seeing you. What question would you like for me to ask?
I think if you were ask me if I was starting out, if I was a young entrepreneur, what advice would I give? There we go. Ask me that question.
Okay. So, Tara, you're starting off in business again. You know, you're the young you. What advice would you give yourself now?
Tara, you can
Mm,
do it. You just got to believe in yourself
yeah.
and join WPO soon and
Mhm.
read a lot, read more, and just believe, because if you work hard enough and and you you think on your feet, you'll be absolutely fine. And it's entrepreneurs that can really change the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. So, good advice you're giving to any entrepreneur just starting off, and I see many of them, and I just want to tell them that same thing. You can do it. It's
You can do
just
it.
that feeling that no, I can't do it and somebody else can do it better. Like, no, no, be brave.
Be brave. And if you can't be brave, just pretend for a bit.
Exactly.
And if you pretend to yourself, it's fine.
Fake
It's
it till you
fine.
make it. I have a buddy that says that a lot. Fake it till you make it.
Fake it.
Anyway,
Fake it till you become it. You know,
yes,
it's
exactly.
yeah, yeah. Because the big corporations aren't going to be creating more jobs. The governments aren't going to be creating more jobs. We have a growing population on this planet. We need more. We need more work. The entrepreneurs are the ones that can do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
kind of your moral duty to be an entrepreneur.
There you go. Employ people, give people a chance to thrive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Speaking of
you'll thrive
thriving,
too.
exactly. Yeah. When you bring somebody else up, it brings you up. So the whole the
Exactly.
whole level of the lake rises.
Yeah,
Um, okay, so Japan,
Japan.
is that this year?
Yeah, that's in November. If fuel prices are still okay with flights, but Japan is, yeah, it should be okay. But yeah, it's happening in November. We're doing 10 days in November and seeing the big top highlights. It's just a culture, it's a very ancient culture that is admired the world over. It's ancient yet it's modern. And there's so much in Japanese culture that can teach us um, about savoring life and celebrating life. And there's so much history. When you go to a country, you need to see kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's also how you learn. So we're going to Hiroshima or Hiroshima, depending on how you say it. But we'll also see Mount Fuji. So I have a dear friend that I actually studied with in Montana who's Japanese, and we're going to spend a bit of time with her. And she works for the Japan Times. She's a journalist. Yeah, it's going to be 10 days of cultural immersion, probably a bit of karaoke. God help us. Please do not let me sing either. Apparently, you call it karaoke, or I'm probably butchering that, but yeah, there'll definitely be some of that, and some sake, trying some sake, and we're going to visit a Japanese factory to see. One of the WPO suppliers, one of Gloria Hell's suppliers, is going to take us around their factory. It's going to be a fabulous trip. I hope you're going to come, Marla.
We'll have to see how the arm goes. Thank you so much, Tara. It was so good to talk to you. And thank you very much for spending some time in your evening. I appreciate it. You're wonderful.
Thank you, Mara. You're wonderful. Thank you for what you do for so many of us. Thank you for your friendship. Just one of the best, the most wonderful people I know. Thank you for having me on your show.